The market is once again moving for our altcoins, but now that it is, I'm seeing a lot of people wishing they bought more at the lows. And so with the information I'm going to give you in this video, and importantly, the 5-step guide I will share with you at the end, I'm going to help you decide on whether it's important to buy altcoins right now or whether you should wait for a pullback. Buckle yourselves in, this is going to be a very good video. Let's begin. Let me get one thing straight for everyone new to this industry, okay? The pump we've seen on altcoins, it's nothing more than a little bit of residual growth from Ethereum going up. And Ethereum's going up because we have a guaranteed rate cut happening here in September. The markets are pricing in, essentially, the Fed being a little bit more dovish. And so this pump for altcoins we've seen is essentially an 18% pump here on what's called others dominance, okay? So it's altcoins, excluding the top 10, and how much they've gone up in relation to the rest of the market. Now, if you have a look at the previous pumps, okay, we've had back here in late 2024, the Trump pump, as we call it. And when the bull run started back in October of 2023, right up to around January 2024, we went up 43% and 76% respectively. Now, I point this out because those pumps were actually in Bitcoin season. These are pure Bitcoin season. This is actually ETH season. So we're seeing a shift here in terms of what's actually happening in the macro market. But if I zoom out, I want to show you what true altcoin pumps look like. The true 5-wave pattern that I normally show you guys here. This is wave 1, this is wave 3, and this is wave 5. There's a broader, large 5-wave sort of pattern and structure. That is how kind of altcoins are formed. We typically do have, all right, wave 2 and wave 4 being bearish, but I wanted to show you this because in the bullish waves, you can see here how much we go up. Altcoins gained 135% strength here in terms of their dominance. They gained 200% here, and they gained 70% here. All of these dwarf what we've just experienced. So I want to remind you all, okay, you can kind of see this here on the actual market cap growth of the others itself, okay? I'm just here to remind you that this pump, okay, has only just started. So to cut you a long story short, and I do think if you're absolutely that adamant on like not watching this video, just skip to the end right now and I will just answer one very important question. In the grand scheme of things, okay, buying altcoins right now, I do think is kind of negligible, okay? Because I do think altcoins are going to go up a 5, 10, 15, 20x from these prices, even if we do have a slight retracement here in the short term. And so we've just survived what I call the chop zone, okay? The chop zone here is, as you can see back in this previous bull run, anything beneath the first high we had here on Ethereum's price. You see the first high we had back here in the 2021 bull run, okay, was a dotted line right here. We've finally broken above that. We, of course, found some resistance at the all-time high. That's obviously expected. But as I said, we did easily jump straight through this little gap here. I do think we likely find some resistance before moving higher, but that is something I want to talk about here in just one moment, so I'll circle back. But just a quick broad update on the market status. This is Ethereum's price here again in the top. This is its all-time high zone. Again, we've just found some resistance here. But what I have beneath it is something called the MVRV. The MVRV is, long story short, assessing whether Ethereum holders are in substantial profit or in a loss. Now, if they're in profit, we go into this dark red zone you can see here, and even the red zone. But needless to say, you can see we have a lot of resistance here on the MVRV, at least based on the last, well, whole entire bear market for Ethereum. This chop period I mentioned to you before, okay, here. You can see we have this line of resistance, and we've just broken through that right now, which I did mention in prior videos is very important. And as I did say, I think we'll have that as we hit the all-time high, which is what we have. Now, what is the next steps for Ethereum? Well, I do think, considering the MVRV right now, as you can see, is actually never been as high as what it is right now in the whole entire bear market. But considering we are at all-time highs, I think we might possibly, again, just sit around here before moving into the red zone, which, of course, is going to give us a bit of a pullback. This means that Ethereum holders are in substantial profit and they're likely to take profit. However, the dark red zone here is where I think we end up at the all-time highs. I would most definitely say that we are likely due for an ETH pullback here at some point, recharge on ETH, and then we could likely see Bitcoin pushing forward a little bit further. But of course, you're here to figure out the question of whether or not it's a good time to buy altcoins or whether you should wait for a pullback. But here I'm going to dive into some stuff that's really exciting for those of you who want to know more about this cycle and want to be able to tell your friends or family what's happening. In most cases, people have no idea what's sort of happening in crypto. So I'd really encourage you to try to learn this. And as you subscribe to this channel, which you should do right now with that bell on, over the coming months, you will see these charts pop up more and you will know what they're all about, of course. But look, I get it, because a lot of the time it's hard trying to navigate all the different YouTube videos you see, let alone watching all of mine and keeping up to date with all of the charts. So that's why I think it's pretty important, guys. If you want to take this market seriously, especially if it's your first bull run, go and check out the private community. We've unlocked level 0 completely for free. So you have access to all of these tools, features, chats, and even access to our swing traders, macro experts with complete trade setups. I mean, I trade their calls. I'm no professional trader, and I'm making some really good money in here as well. But look, what you won't find anywhere else is the additional rewards we give you by just simply trading with us in the community, following our scalp traders, following our swing traders. You can get a one-on-one call with me, again, by just simply trading, and even up to 11,000 USDT for free. And this is all in addition to the great rewards we have with our partners, Femex and Bitunics. We can give you just literally free USD on top of everything else, okay, by just simply depositing into Femex. And we have a fantastic campaign right now with Bitunics for the next 28 days. So it just started. You can win a share up to 9,000 USDT, with spot number 1 getting 56% of that. We want to give you rewards back. We want to surround you with like-minded people who want to succeed over the next 12 months. So if that sounds good to you, then of course, with no obligations, you can sign up to level 0 completely for free. I look forward to seeing you all in there. Let's kick on. Now, this at the top here is actually others' dominance plus ETH's dominance over Bitcoin. So this is like altcoins, like, excluding the top 10, plus Ethereum versus obviously Bitcoin. So this percentage over the side here is actually the percentage that altcoins and ETH have of the Bitcoin market cap. So right now it's about 37% actually. Okay, and I just want to show this because on this top chart, if I add this blue line, which is the 1 year moving average, okay, the 1 year SMA, we actually did back in the previous cycle here in this green period, which is the wave 1 pattern I kind of showed you guys before. Okay, this is the wave 1 where we saw, altcoins do quite well. It's kind of like this period you can see in yellow. Well, what's happened here is we actually had price, or at least this chart, go above the 1 year moving average, you can see here, and then kind of flat to stay above it. And then it fell beneath it for a brief period in wave 2, which is that sort of like pullback we typically see here, which I'm expecting to come here likely soon. And I will talk more about this in 1 second, before moving higher, back above the 1 year moving average. And you can see if we come to where we are right now, we've actually bottomed on this chart and we are now above the 1 year moving average, which is fantastic. This definitely reminds me of this period right here. And what these green dots and these yellow arrows are just additional proof for you to show that actually this time is exactly the same as back here, because this is the RSI, the Relative Strength Index. This helps us understand whether or not whatever chart we're looking at, in this case it's this chart, is overbought or oversold. And if it is, okay, by how much? Now, when this white line is above the yellow line, that's showing bullish momentum. So you can see over here, what happened is at this exact green dot and yellow arrow, we actually crossed above the yellow line. The white line went above the yellow line, and it's actually happened again right on cue here as well. At the same point, we went above the 1 year moving average. So all I'm trying to say is history has repeated, and we can roughly know that we are about here in the equivalence of the previous cycle, which means we do likely have some more room to go here on this chart, but we will likely see some pullbacks and more growth along the way as well. And if we add the MACD to this, MACD is basically kind of like the RSI. It shows bullish and also bearish momentum, but it's more of a lagging indicator. So it's kind of like confirming the move. The RSI here actually moves first. It's more of a forward-facing indicator. So with the RSI here showing bullish momentum, the MACD is about to cross into bullish momentum here as well, which is very good because we pretty much haven't seen this until back at the very start in this green box here, which again is like that wave 1, that first really bullish move we see on altcoins. Now, as you know from probably watching this channel, this box here, this first move we're kind of experiencing right now, I believe, is where most altcoins go back up to like their bear market highs. Basically the highs they made back in December of 2024, the Trump pump. This is the Trump pump right here, and this is a whole bunch of different like top 21 to top 100 altcoins. And so this is like an index of all of those 10 different coins, basically a nice mixture of different projects. And this is the bear market high they averaged over here. Now, we were about 35% down on average for these coins from those bear market highs. So like I mentioned, I see in this wave we're about to experience here, least likely most coins go back up to around this point, depending on how strong the coin is, give or take a little bit. If we have a look at BNB in the previous cycle, you can actually see this. You can see here that it took quite a long time for it to get back up to its bear market high over here back in 2019. But once it did, it experienced wave 3, okay? This was actually wave 2 here, but experienced wave 3, and it went crazy. It went parabolic. It was a couple billion market cap at this point in time, and it went up still a 16x, okay, to a $100 billion market cap. You can actually see that wave 3 right here on this exact same chart I showed you guys earlier. And you can see BNB here in yellow. I know it doesn't look like much because they're all kind of condensed. I also have Dogecoin, ADA, Atom, IOTA, and Mana, so a whole bunch of different type of projects on this list. And you can just see kind of like while the drops and the pumps were still big at this point, respective to how big wave 3 was, it looks like nothing. And this is a common theme amongst every coin at this sort of level. Okay, they had a massive pump in wave 3. And again, I do think wave 3 is still to come over here, but that happens likely after we see a bit more of a pump on this chart here, a bit more strength for ETH and altcoins. But I do believe we will have a dip in between when that actually happens. So this might provide a really good opportunity for us to actually buy into our altcoins. It's kind of the picture I'm getting at here. So as right now we are going through wave 1, like I showed you in this point right here, what I could see happening is us ending wave 1 around this dotted line right here. This is actually ETH to gold. This gives us a really good cyclical picture of where we are in this cycle versus this cycle. Okay, so you can see back in that last cycle, we actually ended wave 1 as we topped and touched this dotted line right here. This was wave 2. So what I see happening is likely a continuation to this same line, okay, and then coming back down to some point for wave 2 before going much, much higher. And we can actually kind of see this if we break it down in much more detail. I'll gloss over it quite quickly here, but I will break this down further in an upcoming video. So I'll draw your attention here to the ETH to gold chart first of all. So what happened here is, again, just to break it down a bit further, we pumped out of this sort of, trend line here where we had a high, lower high, and then this consolidation. Okay, we pumped out. We touched that line I just showed you before. That was the end of wave 1. We experienced wave 2 coming down to this particular high here. As you can see, we came down. We sat here for a bit before moving back up again, and this was actually wave 3. And so this actually occurred, this bottomed in September of 2020, literally like 5 years ago to the day. So the same thing's again playing out here. We can see the same high, lower high, this sort of downward trend line. We've broken clean through it. What I could see here happening is we break up to this same dotted line here. Funnily enough, the percentage gain is around 60%, and the fall here would be to the same lower high in the middle, about 26%. So it would actually be the same sort of growth as back here. You can see here that we had about a 60% from this line to the dotted line, and we also had to the lower high over here, a 21% drop. So if this actually plays out, it's literally not just the exact timing and same structure, but same percentages as the last cycle. So we'd come up, we'd drop, consolidate around this point over here, which could actually happen in September, funnily enough as well, 5 years later, and then we could possibly see a wave 3 push over here. Now, if that's the case, we might not see a very strong wave 1, at least, in relation to this previous pump here where we experienced 135% gains. But I still do think because the market cap is much larger in this cycle, we will still see a relatively large push for altcoins, especially the top 100 altcoins I've mentioned here. I do believe they'll probably get back up to around their bear market highs. To summarize, what does all that mean? That means that we're likely probably going to see a bit more of strength come through for ETH and altcoins in the short term, like I showed you with these charts here. Again, we'll finish up this push. We'll likely come back down here again below this 1 year moving average here in the blue line, which actually works in really well here with us touching this same 0.2 over here before moving higher. So yes, ETH and altcoins will have a pullback. As a matter of fact, pullbacks are quite healthy. But that being said, like the pullback itself, guys, might not pull us down as far as the prices and entries we are in actually today. Because if we move up a 2.5x here, if we go up from where we roughly are here, let's just say this is an altcoin chart. This is obviously the top, index for the top 100 coins. If we go from 748 here up to, let's even just call it 150%, so a 2.5x to 1800. But then from this point, if we fall down 50%, okay, we are at this point here we're at 900. So we're still at a better entry level, okay, here than what we possibly could go to. Now, it's all theoreticals. No one knows how high these coins will pump. No one knows how low these coins might drop. They might pump up a 2x and only fall down 5%. No one knows. So here's my plan. If I'm fresh in the market, the 5-step plan I have is number one, if I'm rotating into altcoins now, I would hold a portion in cash. So for me personally, like I mentioned in last night's video, I'm 90% in the market right now and I'm building up a 10% cash position. I'm actually not selling any of my altcoins right now. I personally would like to be at least 50% in the market if I'm brand fresh, new. If this dip does come in wave 2, you may or may not get a better buying opportunity than right now. It's hard to tell like I just explained to you. So I think bare minimum, non-financial advice, the way I would look at it is I think at least 50% in the market, and you may want to obviously put more in the market depending on your situation, but I think holding some cash is obviously the right move to make. You will always find a place for the cash, whether it's now, whether it's in wave 2, whether it's in wave 3, crypto is full of potential opportunities. Now, here's the really important part, guys. If you are buying altcoins, especially as brand new, fresh money, please don't make the mistake of buying whatever the hell you see on CoinMarketCap, especially whatever the hell is pumping on the day or the week. Please don't make this mistake. Many people do. It's an obvious thing that happens, right? Fresh in the market, you look at the nice shiny coin that's pumping. That is the herd mentality. You want to go to the restaurant that's populated, not the one that has no one in it. Please refrain from doing that. Look for the coins that are in the best narratives. AI, real-world assets, Layer 1, USA, and DeFi, also showing some strength in terms of their dominance versus other altcoins. Now, we have a great chart in the private community that actually assesses this. We have each and every single one of these coins and looking at their yearly performance and their lows to now, so the lows up until this point versus other altcoins. And we can actually average them out and see who's doing better and who's doing worse. We have a lot of different coins in here. We also assess their dominance versus the markets and these two scores, but in my opinion, these two here are the most important. We want to see if these coins are getting stronger versus their peers. In most cases, a lot of the coins we look at actually are. So that is step 2. And 3, if I'm fresh, I just wouldn't touch anything below the top 200. You run a very big risk of buying a coin that is a dud, or more particularly buying a coin that won't pump for the next 6 to 12 months if we have a cycle that long. And you being new will not know the difference between a coin that's just waiting for it to pump and a dead coin. So you'll probably panic sell. So please, again, not financial advice, but I would just go with lower multiples if you possibly can. Secure some life-changing wealth for yourself and your family, and don't try risk it all to buy a Lamborghini. You don't need a Lamborghini right now. What's more important is maybe paying your house off, for example. And so for that reason, I would, number 4 here, focus my attention on getting no more than a 10x to be safe. You know, when I tell friends and family that just want to get into crypto, I don't tell them that I think ICP could go to $100. I don't tell them some of my own personal predictions because I know they'll aim for that, which is not what they're designed to do. What I tell them is to just get out safely. A 5x, 7x, or a 10x, absolutely max, because I want to see people make guaranteed returns, right? There's obviously a lot of risk involved with this as well. But in relation to other, 50x possible opportunities, it's relatively much safer. Then the aim should be to 10x your fortune in the next bull market using Bitcoin to help. If you 10x this bull market and 10x the next bull market, it's 100x. So particularly here, you'd want to use Bitcoin in the next bear market, buy a shitload of Bitcoin in the next bear market. And so when Bitcoin rides up a 3x or so, okay, if you're looking for a 10x, then that 10x isn't a 10x anymore. It's a matter of fact, you only have to 3x on your altcoins to get, roughly speaking, that 10x. 3x on Bitcoin, okay? 3x on altcoins, yes, it's a 9x overall, but roughly speaking, it's much easier than a 10x just on altcoins. And 5, last but not least, if you're new to crypto, please join a community. You don't have to join my community. It is, of course, free. We have level 0 now completely available to you guys. You don't have to pay for a single damn thing. You have a whole bunch of amazing features in it, but I'm not here to tell you to come and join my community. I just want you to succeed, which could just mean you going ahead and joining any other community. Just make sure it is a quality community and you don't stay somewhere where you aren't being helped, where you're not learning new things, where you don't have products, okay, to actually make your life easier. We have all of that in our private community, of course. Again, level 0 is free as well, and you can actually trade using our links to get level 1 and 2 completely for free as well. The most important thing is to, if you are new, align yourself with people who are much, more involved with the market and have the experience, because you don't have the time to F this bull market up. Let me tell you right now. So with that being said, everyone, thank you all so much for watching this long end of the video. If you've made it this far, you can tell me that by hitting that like button down below, and I can't wait to see you on tomorrow's video. Take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.